Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
And you're listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. You don't recognize my voice unless you love the deep cuts. But my name is Ben Fust. I'm the editor and often propagator of the program, but here in service and honor of Phillip Ramsey for the 300th episode. Phillip, congratulations, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of podcasts.
Okay, just to contextualize this, it is, it's like 95% of podcasts do not make it this far.
Okay.
It feels nerdy, but like they call it pod fade. Like people are like, hey, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to share my voice. People are going to dig on the things that I'm saying. And like you get 5 episodes, 20 episodes in, and then like people don't have the stamina for it.
It's hard. You got to keep feeding that beast.
Yes, totally. And there's some of it is, I think, and maybe if you guys are thinking about this, you're like, I want to do a podcast. Like there's a little bit of unreasonableness that has to exist for you to continue to go, I should keep speaking.
Yeah, right.
I should keep speaking and sharing. And often it's a righteous thought. It's hard to sustain because like, although it's different with Phillip and I today, because we're looking at each other like, you're often in a room by yourself,
just talking to the microphone.
That's right. It's just you chatting it up. Yeah, there's a bit of you almost have to carry a little bit of ego in there to go, I'm going to keep talking even if no one responds to me.
It's so accurate.
Yeah. So anyway, it is a significant accomplishment, not only to be able to put out 300 episodes, but even the listens. I saw a stat the other day about people buying books and stuff. And they said that even like the top selling authors that like you would recognize, sometimes they're selling 3,000 copies of a book within the first 4 to 6 months or something. Wow. Like the numbers aren't what they
used to be.
Yeah, what they used to be, or maybe even what you expect of what it means to be successful.
Yeah.
And just in general, the podcast numbers I would know are up. They're about double what they were maybe a year, maybe the last time we spoke.
Right.
And even some places about 5 or 10x. But like the interesting part is that like this podcast is more listened to than I think it's like again 75-80% of the podcasts that are out there. Isn't that wild?
It's unbelievable.
It's just wild. So anyway, I was thinking about, it is an interesting question though for you, which is 300 episodes in, often in a room by yourself. Yeah. Like, why do you keep doing it?
Yeah. It's a good question. And I think that there's been a lull in times where like Brian would take off and what do I do? How do I talk about what technical things can I actually glean that people find interesting and informative? And I remember you and I had a conversation of like, you got to make it your own show. Mm-hmm. And so there are times, very few times that I go into the technical details of accounts and different positions and all these things, and more of just what is an uncommon perspective that you can have in this world that is all too so valuable to me and I think other people. It's a breath of fresh air. And so that gave me momentum to continue to talk when there's been some droughts.
Oh, for sure.
And even recently, like the building kicked my hiney. And so we had to kind of regroup and kind of pull back from the deep cuts, as Ben likes to say. And that was life-giving. But I do feel like there are content that not only do I get excited about talking about, but I think that people genuinely, it would encourage them if they did listen. So if I felt like I was just repeating what I used to say or regurgitating, if you will, I think I'd be super discouraged. But for some reason, the Lord has gotten me something to talk about, and I keep grabbing this microphone and ripping it.
Yeah, well, you know what I love? So one of the interesting things about your show, and I think it stands out, and again, some of this I'm saying it's to feel like I'm just handing out compliments to Phillip, but like also because of the types of folks that are listening to your program, I want you guys to think about too what this means for the things that you're putting out, newsletters, podcasts, like is that there is something about, if you're just trying to get something from someone, like, hey, I want a podcast because I want to sell more houses. I mean, that could be a byproduct, sure. But like, I want a podcast because I want to like try to get a person to do a specific thing. Like, that'll run out of gas.
Absolutely.
Because the feedback won't be there. And to your point, you'll get tapped out because you will start circling back on the same 10, 15 types of things that matter, because those are the conversation hinge points that you're used to for being good at your work, right? It's something completely different to be a person that just sees the world in a way and then looks around and goes, well, here's what I'm looking at today. Here's what I'm looking at through, you get my eyes, but looking at a unique situation with these folks, with this business, with the economic world that's going on around us. That won't tap because it's you.
Yeah.
And it's something that I actually think people can connect with, because it's so... it's endearing, I guess, to hear someone say something that you can't quite put words to, but like that you feel. Have you had that? Have you seen moments like that, or people that you latch onto when that's true?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of that time, a lot of that is that like your connections are being able to see the world in a certain way, and it's an encouraging way. It's a way of that otherwise points people to like, hey, I think that it can be different.
Yeah.
And it's often in a world where it's not like people are being intentionally discouraging, but like most of the pylons are sent to direct you to a path that which feels like a box. A little.
Absolutely, and trying to sell you something.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this couldn't be further from this podcast. Like,
That's right.
I try to provide so much value that you feel like you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And when you do it that way, I feel like, one, there's people who are like, wait, you have a podcast? They have no idea that, they might think there's 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And so I don't really do a good job of promoting it. But when people find it, I feel like they kind of get locked into like, this is a niche.
Yeah.
And it used to be a lot longer content. Like, we have guests for 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm not saying those weren't good, but the seasons have changed, or maybe my ADHD has changed, and we're just making it a little shorter so people can consume it, change their maybe perspective on the day or that topic, and then move on.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I do feel like it's been kind of a evolving journal, if you will, on not only my career, but what I find is valuable to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And what the core values of Uncommon Wealth are, of how you see things, and what, and if you in line with them, go out and do it.
Yeah.
If you want us to help you, we're here for you. But either way, I do. It's just a good thing for me to be able to talk through this stuff, and also see the world in a perspective of like, that's what I feel like God's teaching me. Could there somebody else be maybe wanting to hear that too?
Yeah.
Maybe not. And so I don't know how many times I tell Ben, like, hey, what are the stats and stuff? I don't ever say it because I don't know if I care. Like, I care and I don't care.
Yeah.
But, people be like, how many people have you got as like clients because of the podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Could there be some? Yeah, maybe. But there might not be either. And again, Ben does a really good job of gently like, hey, you got to promote your podcast because it is something fun. He has to listen to it. I pay him. But other people don't have to. And I think there would be value if more people heard about it. And so it's encouraging for me to hear that there's more people that are clicking on it and our numbers are going up. But there's a strategery, I don't know if that's a word.
It's a word for sure.
Yeah. That I don't understand, and I don't feel like the Lord has given me that gift to figure out how to connect all this stuff yet.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just not my time, and maybe it'll never be. And yet, but that's not why I do the podcast.
That's right.
So that's helpful. That's given me motivation and encouragement to just grab the microphone and talk about something that I feel like God's leading and teaching me in my life.
Yeah. And again, I think that's an encouraging way to think about just any of your output. There's things that feel like tools to accomplish an end. And there's things that you would do regardless, or they're like righteous outpourings of the work that you do, the way that you look at the world, the way that you want to interact with people, or like it's what you have to offer. Mm-hmm. And would you, if you had to start writing it down and someone said, feels like a real biblical example, but like, hey, if there's 5 people, there's five people in Sodom who are going to listen to this podcast, are you still going to put it out?
Yeah.
If they're going to get value out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What if there's only 3? Yeah. Sure. Right?
Right.
And so I think it's an interesting, you don't, there's lull times, and I want to talk about some of the changes in your business and some of the like this building work and stuff as it interacts with some of this too. Yeah. There's certainly lull times, but the things that you value and the encouragement and otherwise goodness that you create that other people can benefit from, if you're not asking for it to bounce back and necessarily enrich you, it is a little easier to sustain.
It's genuine.
Yes, because the measurement of the listeners, like I actually think I'm terrible at this, by the way. Phillip and I are a terrible tag team because both of us suffer from this exact same problem where I'm like, hey, maybe there's a bunch of wizardry that can get 200 people a week to be 1,000 people a week. But if that extra 800 people were people who just like ducked in because they saw an ad or something and got it for 30 seconds and then bailed, and then the next episode it's a different 800 people. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me.
Right. There's no reason for that.
Right.
The business doesn't require, the encouragement doesn't require it. It doesn't enrich anybody else who's actually listening to it thoughtfully and deeply, you know?
Right.
Interesting. Okay. So
also too, I would say my last comment on this is I feel like Uncommon Wealth is swimming in a blue sea. You ever heard that? Like a Red Sea, blue sea? Red Sea is like there's a lot of sharks in that water.
Yeah.
And we swim in a blue sea.
Yeah.
Where when people find it, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like they haven't heard this position or this perspective before. And so not only do I feel encouraged that there are people out there that really lock in and really resonate with the values and the perspective, but I also feel like the future is bright because we're not going after all the other financial advisors that are going after the same client type.
Yeah.
We have our own little niche.
Yeah.
And it's a blue ocean.
Yeah.
Although it can be intimidating in the ocean by yourself.
Oh, for sure. So let's talk about, as I think about between episodes 200 and 300, and even there was a jump even between 100 and 200 too, just like changes in your business, like partners that you've had, folks who are, again, you're a smaller company, right? So like you're going to notice when people aren't there anymore or different people are coming in and that kind of thing. And then you're in the middle here of a physical location, which you haven't had. And so, well, let's talk to me a little bit about those changes. And like, if Phillip from 10 years ago, was just what would you tell yourself just starting that journey from 10 years ago that you needed reminded of as some of these kind of, waves come and gone and changes in your life and in your business? Yeah.
I think if I would have taken a snapshot at where I was at now versus 10 years ago, I'd be pretty discouraged, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Lord has blessed me with the leadership characteristics, leadership qualities to be able to pour into other people. So if I saw two people in any building, I'd be like, what did you do wrong? If I'm being truly honest. And so when people come and go, I've always tried to instill of like, if you leave this company will never be the same. I think there's a lot of businesses out there who are like, you can leave and this company will always, which it doesn't value the gifts that they actually bring.
That's right. Yep.
So I've tried to do that opposite. I've tried to be uncommon in that and like tell people if they leave, our business is going to look very different because the gifts and skill sets that they bring are valuable in that season. Now, the place where I feel like it's not only humbling, but I'm growing immensely but that doesn't mean that it can't change. And the gifts that you have doesn't mean that we can't replace them. It just, again, the company will never be the same without the people in it. And so there's been times in my past where I've clung on to maybe some individuals longer than it should have because all the signs are pointing to this is a good time to off ramp.
Yeah.
Either for them or for us. But I'm pretty loyal. And so I've tried to keep them around as long as I can, maybe to the detriment of a relationship that I should have maybe like, hey, this is probably just not going to work.
Yeah.
But where God has had us and where God is at us currently is I'm really encouraged.
Yeah.
I'm really encouraged, for the knowledge that I have gained through the changes.
Yeah.
And maybe some boundaries that I'm now protecting myself a little bit more than I ever have, which feels a little bit calloused.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the Lord uses different circumstances and situations to produce endurance and character and steadfastness, all these things where, this is a refining, running a business. If you are a business owner, it is refining, it is humbling, it is everything that you ever thought it would be and more. And yet the byproduct is something that you value. And so looking at the future of Uncommon Wealth Partners, I see that we are going to be efficient and yet not stemming away from the core values that we have, which is client focused and really trying to encourage those underdogs or the uncommon people in the world to let their uncommon flag fly a little bit. And so how we're going to do that is being efficient and trying to pour into even more of our clients' ideas and paths and financial, I guess, things that we can do. So I'm grateful for where we're at now.
Yeah.
So we have a building. I feel like that's been a very healthy transition.
Yeah.
At first I was like, we're going to do this all remote. And that worked for a season, but it's hard to lead when everyone's remote.
Yeah.
And you only see each other maybe once a quarter in a team meeting. You can't tell when maybe attitudes are slipping or something personal for somebody is really weighing on them.
Yeah.
And so that's where I really took a hard, deep, hard look at what's going on and how things are not going well. And I thought we need to be physically together.
Yeah.
So I could lead more efficiently and more effectively. So that's what I'd say now. So I think as we grow, we have capacity to have more clients.
Yeah.
And technology has been a big part of that, but I don't want our clients to feel like it's robotic.
Yeah.
I want to actually be in front of our clients more. And I want our systems and processes and maybe even AI to help us do the back end stuff so we can be more front and center.
Yeah.
And Cody has been I think everybody in their own season have been life-giving to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But Cody came to me one time. He's like, hey, I just did some research and financial advising is one of the top things that will be replaced with AI in the very near future. And I remember telling him I love that statistic. And he's like, what? And I was like, here's the deal. If AI, and if we can understand AI and help us have better relationships, which Uncommon Wealth is all about, then let's embrace it. Let's embrace it and see how we can maximize it in order to go help more people be uncommon and start their own path. And immediately he was just like, oh, that's what we do here, right? We're kind of more in the relationship type of things and encouraging people to take ownership and look at their lives and the way they're gifted as something that can be providing for their family. So I'm kind of excited about the future. I'm excited about what AI can bring, not because I want AI to interact with our clients. No, I want the AI to do stuff that I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's always been somebody out there to be able to help complement me on maybe my weaknesses.
Yeah.
Well, now AI can do that. So AI doesn't sleep. They don't call in for, they don't have personal things.
Yeah.
It's just somebody that can really complement somebody who has a superpower. And they can go use that and flex that muscle even stronger. So I don't know if that answers your question, long and short, but
it kind of does. It's interesting because if you think about just finances holistically, no one wants money just for Scrooge wants money just for money.
Yeah,
everyone else is using wealth to otherwise do something
as a tool.
It enables something that they want in their lives. It could just be the notion of trust or comfort or security or something like that. All of those things are human emotions, right? And so you can often separate the transactional bits, like, hey, did we do well in the market today or something like that? But that's not the same thing as understanding contextually, what does that wealth mean to how secure I feel, what my opportunities are, what I'm enabled to go do, what I'm excited to go do, what I can go do in someone else's life or that kind of thing, right? Yep. And so, and you're right, the tools underneath will shift the landscape of ease and opportunity and that kind of thing. Humans will always be the dealers of human emotion. I don't know if you try to interact with some of these chatbots and emotion. Terrible.
They're terrible.
Yes, as they should be. We don't have an expectations that they're better than that. And so, great. Okay. Well, so part of the point of that question, actually, let's talk about the building project a little more.
Yeah.
You're not unfamiliar over the years with dealing with business owners who are jumping in and out of building spaces and stuff like that. Right. Was there anything that surprised you about this building project relative to what you already know through someone else's eyes?
When somebody's like, how's the building going? I was like, well, it's over budget and way over time frame. So it's going exactly how it should be.
Right.
So it's going swimmingly well. But it's different when you're in the pocket, so to say. There's something that, $10,000, like that was unexpected.
Yeah.
And so that's been interesting. And it's also helped me value like general contractors because it's basically babysitting grown adults to try to hold them accountable to something they said. Now, when you're trying to run a business and doing general contracting, we're losing time quickly.
Yes.
Because I just can't hold people accountable like somebody that's full-time job.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, it was exactly how I thought it was going to be, but way different because I was the one that was dealing with it. So that's pretty much my life. If that could be a shirt, that's pretty much my shirt.
So maybe the difference with past interactions, you probably say the same things, set the same expectations with other business owners, but maybe you just give them a hug or a piece of candy or something. It's like, I know it's rough.
Yeah. So funny story. So the person Eden and Gray, John Shiplett, Hannah Shiplett, they're rock stars.
Yep.
They helped me walk through this. Like without them, it would have been a dark, dark place. But they were really encouraging. And that could probably be a whole nother podcast about the building. But John and I are the one who went to Switzerland.
Yep.
And we had this I had this epiphany on the mountain of like, I probably should do more risky things like this with my business and just step in and let the Lord, give me the faith I need to rely on him. And so that's kind of the impetus of this building that gave me the confidence, I guess. So it was really cool that John said, hey, I'll help you with this. And he had the skills and expertise to do it.
Yep.
Hannah was the one who helped us design it. And so as he's been helping me, well, guess what they're doing now? Oh. They're buying a building. And so he told me, he's like, yep, this is our budget to renovate. And we both stopped, we looked at each other, and we both laughed. Because you start with a number and it completely changes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, things that you just don't foresee. But it's been cool to have them not only walk through this building project with me, but then decide to do it for themselves. And they've done it far more times for other people. But I'm telling you, when you're in the driver's seat, it is very different. And so to be able to almost be there for them now, and almost be a better coach or, I don't know, financial advisor for people who are in it. Like, oh, baby, I've been there, and I can almost speak to it even more because I've felt those emotions of costs going up and it's no sign to where are we going. So honestly, where we're at now is like, I'm waiting for the final bill. Trying to figure out what's that going to be. And like, do I lose sleep over tonight? No, we'll figure it out. But also I'm almost numb to money. It's almost like monopoly money at this point. Like, well, like, why wouldn't we do that? And when you get to so far in the process, you're kind of like, well, either I do it halfway or I do the whole thing. And I'm not the halfway kind of guy. So here we are.
It is difficult building a house, building a business. Right when it gets that high, and you've spent so much money to get to a place, and someone goes, "Look, it's going to be another $5,000." If that $5,000 would have hit you day 10, you'd have flipped out. On day 55, you're like, gotta do it.
Sounds great.
What am I going to say no to this thing if between me and what I wanted is $5,000? Like, the context changes, and it is what it is. And like, it happens 99.9% of the time, and everyone actually seems to have worked it out. So,
other people have gone before us to do this. It was interesting too. Kind of a mixed blessing is when you're dealing with a commercial building, it's like extortion, and you're dealing with a mafia a little bit. Like everything's 40% more than it should be. Even to trash is $50 a month. Why? Well, it's commercial. Is it different than your bin at home? No.
Right. What's same truck, same bin.
Truck, everything. Like, but we give you better service. I don't want that service. I want the old. Like, I just want to.
That's right.
Anyway, so it's extortion, but like you want to do something electrical. Well, you gotta jump through all these hoops. And honestly, that was a blessing because if I didn't, I'd be like me and a couple friends, like, let's let's do this.
Right, right.
And it's probably not the safest thing ever.
Yeah.
I still feel like all my friends are knowledgeable enough to help me, but it was almost helpful for me to know like what I can do and what I can't do.
Yeah.
If we had to pull a permit, Phillip can't do.
Yeah.
I'm not licensed as a master plumber or electrician. You know?
Yeah.
But painting,
Yeah.
I can do that, right? Like, there's
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did it.
All
Yeah,
right.
you better believe it.
That's good.
I should say my family and I, my friends and I did
Yeah.
this, or the demo. It was such an easy transition of like, oh, I can demo.
Yeah.
There's nobody going to like come inspect demo.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. So let's demo it. And then it was like this slippery slope of like, okay, now we got to remodel this thing. And then we have to get people who are licensed, and then we have to get inspectors coming in, and you have to get permits. And like it escalated quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was almost a mixed blessing, because then I didn't have to choose like, what could I do? What can't I do?
Yeah.
It was like, all right, you got to pull permit. You got to get inspected. Phillip can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's kind of, if you think about a business strategy, like it has to say no.
Yeah.
Like, of course you have a world full of opportunity, but just because you sell life insurance doesn't mean you should get into a off-brand Lego competition.
That's right.
You know, and
That's right.
so it has to have a no in there somewhere. And sometimes, because if you're a type of person who sees opportunity everywhere, it's hard to say to cut something off.
Yes.
And so when someone does it for you, it can be kind of handy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Okay. So coming through this, well, one more question on the building, actually. So going through what you have now, have you, like, would you considered, do you wish you'd have done it earlier? Like 10 years ago, I wish I would have done this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I talked to my wife about this actually a couple of days ago. And no, I think this is the perfect season for it. Now, the partnerships had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, when you're in a partnership, a lot of times both of you are gifted very differently. And being that 10 years ago, I was with Brian.
Yep.
He was just not physically in Ankeny. He was in a different city. And
Right.
so the painting, for example, like he's not going to grab a paintbrush. Like that happened on the weekends. And not saying he wouldn't, I don't think he would. He's got other things going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I felt like a lot of this stuff would have been fallen on me, and yet we'd have to split everything that would come out of it 50-50.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I think is interesting is just the way that people perceive debt is very different.
Yeah.
And some people perceive debt as like, it didn't work out, let's just file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That's not the way that I necessarily view debt.
Yeah, right.
And so everything that I've done in this building has been thoughtful in, okay, am I making it better? And if I needed to, could I sell it? And could I get completely out of the note altogether?
Yeah.
And I think so. Again, that might be a skewed perception, but I feel like what we've done in this building has not only made it better, but I feel like it's better for Ankeny too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my kind of litmus test is
Yeah.
when you drive by this, do they look at this building and be like, oh, they've done something here.
Yeah.
They didn't just slap some paint on it. We've done that. But like there seems to be some fundamental changes that made that building better. And I think that's valuable to somebody out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Enough so that we could get out of this building. Now, that took a little bit more sweat equity than I think it probably, what I wanted to.
Yeah.
But that was right for my risk tolerance.
Yes, right.
And so when you're in that building with some other partner and you're thinking about that, you start putting out a lot more responsibility on yourself to make sure that you're going to be okay if things don't go according to plan.
Yeah.
But there's other side who's also benefiting from that. And so for me, 10 years ago, that's what we would be at.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd be resentful, but also like, hey, grab a paintbrush, like come help, And
Yeah.
and I got something else going on, which we all do, right?
Yeah.
But so that's why I'm grateful that this has happened in this season. And it's also been good to be working out of my house for so long to appreciate it, really.
Yeah.
So those are my long answers, which I always have. So.
No, yeah, that's fine. So if we probably should do the folks a benefit to. You're going to do like a before and after. You're going to show the people.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, then I'll leave that in suspense. But I will say. I double checked where I was going because there's a lot of traffic around here, and the Google Maps, and this is a very unflattering picture of the building. Like, the building looks fantastic. It does not in the Google Maps photo.
No.
That looks like an illegal meat locker.
We gotta update the Google Maps. Yeah, that's one of the things.
Yeah, you got to
Put it on
call
the list.
You got to call them, see what they'll do. So now, if I think about like kind of where you've come from, and even the podcast that you've done in this season of your business, have there been any that like really stuck with you? Like the things that the conversation you had or something that somebody said? I mean, there's been I listen to them, obviously. I'm editing them. There's a lot of really, really great content. And then every once in a while, and I think it just hits different people, at different times, but there's just something where you're like, whiz bang. Yeah. That whiz bang meant something to me. That changed something that I was currently thinking about. Can you think of any podcasts that kind of hit that for you?
No, I in general, I will say that it does seem like I'm not interviewing as many people as I used to.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this is just me reflecting on maybe my day or just the normal journey, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I did a podcast a while back, is like the joys in the journey.
Yeah.
And God really kind of met me there when I was doing a hike with my family, and I was just totally focused on the top, the end goal. And it was like he hit me with a ton of bricks. And I feel like that's the switch that's changed a little bit is, no, I want to have joy even in the mundane.
Yeah.
Now that's not that I couldn't interview people and pull that same thing out, but I feel like I need to do a little bit better job of prep work before I interview people. Like we literally hit record and we see what happens. And
we did that today.
And here we are. And, but there's always times when I interview somebody that I'm like, that I needed that, right? Like there was wisdom there that I really needed to hear.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of yearning to start getting back into interviewing uncommon people that have an uncommon perspective that really shapes me and grows me in a way of like, I can have that perspective too.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, right? It's like we get to control our own perspective and our own narrative. That's the power of this whole thing. So is there one or two that stand out? Yeah. I think if I go back and like look at all the titles and like, oh wow, I needed to hear that, or I really feel like in that season, that's what I was learning. But yeah, so if you spoke to about one specific one, I'd be like, oh yeah, I love that one. And there's probably one or two different things on every episode that I was like, that was helpful. And so
you ever surprise yourself? Like when you're going to go in there and just you're going to talk and you think this is what you're going to talk about and you find stuff coming out of your face. You're like, wow.
Oh yeah. Totally. And more so when I first started this whole solo casting, that was intimidating. Ben, like intimidating. But now it's more second nature to grab a microphone and just see what's going to come out.
Yeah.
And hopefully the Lord will use that in somebody's life to encourage them.
Yeah.
But man, when I first started doing that, I was like, I don't know. I think you and I even talked about like, do I even have anything to talk about? So that's been helpful.
Okay. Well, this has been super fun. That's again, I will reiterate, 300 there's a persistence in there that is laudable in and of itself. And maybe again, when I was thinking about what we could talk about coming in here, and like it can feel self-serving, but I think actually milestones like this for your podcast are reflective of the reason you do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like it's encouraging to see you do it. It's encouraging the commitment that's there to keep it up, to have it follow you through kind of the curves and the waves that your business has, things that, just you're a different person than you were than when you started doing this type of thing. And it's interesting actually to go back and kind of listen. Some of it feels like it wouldn't be, hey, you're doing a wealth or a financial services or like a life podcast. Does it really reflect my personality and its changes? It does, because like those are just palettes of which people are going through human experiences over time. And so the reason I thought it was valuable even to do some of those introspection questions is I'm hoping that it's an encouragement to some of you guys that are listening, and like whatever endeavor you have, like you've got your main things that you do, and then there's something that probably feels a little bit peripheral. Does anybody read the newsletter? Does anybody care about the handwritten note I do every couple of weeks? Or, I sent out 5, only somebody told me thanks, or like, or podcasts. I've been podcasting for, 12 or 13 years. This is a long time.
Decade.
Yeah. Way like, I'll usually say we've been podcasting before podcasting was cool. And then we just kind of stayed under the radar when it improved. But it's kind of the same thing. You don't really, podcasting is notoriously difficult to tell whether anybody's listening. Like they're getting better, but I do it. I still do it almost weekly, maybe bi-weekly, because I need it. I want the chance to digest the world around me. I've got friends and stuff in the studio, and we're talking and digesting the thing going on. And, not everything's going to be a real winner. I wouldn't submit everything for awards contention. But the experience of doing it, just the crazy things that people can latch onto that didn't mean anything to you. Yeah. They seem normal to you, but they change something in somebody else. And that's true, not even because the unique person that Phillip is, or maybe the unique person that it's just because people are unique. There's things that feel normal to you that strike someone. And so anyway, I hope the conversation was encouraging. I'll thank you on Phillip's behalf because he always does, but I'll thank you for listening. I think it's good to see such a unique community of folks kind of growing and learning and being encouraged by each other through something that can feel disassociated, but as a matter of practice, actually kind of ties us all together. So.
It does, yeah. So your podcast is Live from the Path.
Yes.
It's one of the ones I listen to.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to know more, I think it's great, and I do think that. So in my maturity, I feel like marriage was the first thing that God used in my life to be like, oh boy, like I need to be humbled, and He used that tool in my life to really refine me. And then the next thing was children. Is, oh man, like you see things and sin issues in your own life through your kids, and you're like, don't do that. It's not going to serve you well.
Yeah, that's right.
The third thing though is my business. And there's other things too, but like big things. Yeah. Like the Lord has taught me and humbled me more in those three things than ever. Yep. And so it's encouraging for me to say that this podcast has evolved in almost like a journal over our career path at Uncommon Wealth Partners. Yep. It's changed, and it's going to change. And to be able to have these things as kind of even a checkpoint, even every 100th episode, it's interesting to be able to reflect on the last and the history of. Yep. So thanks for interviewing me.
Yeah, you're all right. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Uncommon Wealth podcast. My name has been Fust, and I've been talking with Phillip Ramsey. And I'll let you sign it off because otherwise it wouldn't be the show without it.
Would it be though? Yeah. I will say thanks. The 300th episode is a milestone, and yet it almost feels like just the beginning. So no matter where you're at, I want you to just be encouraged that you can have joy even in the mundane. And then there's milestones in your life that you can get encouraged and kind of get more momentum and going. And so I hope this is, one, an episode just to encourage you. And two, I'm grateful that you're on the journey with us. So thanks for listening. You've been listening to Uncommon Wealth Podcast. Till next time, go be uncommon.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.